You already are your true nature, infinite consciousness. You already are who you really are. So there is absolutely nothing to be sought and nothing to be achieved because it's already the case and you're already it. All spiritual seeking is ultimately ego because all seeking is the belief that you are the separate individual. It's the belief that you are a separate individual person who can do something to realize or achieve what already is. All seeking is looking to accomplish what's already accomplished and achieve what's already achieved. Any teaching that says you must do something or change something about yourself to realize who you really are is a false teaching of duality. It positions the realization of your true nature as something that will happen in the future after a practice when your true nature is already present as what's appearing right now. It reinforces the idea that you are a separate person who has to do something to become whole and complete, when you already are this wholeness and completeness that's already present right now, forever and always. So, how can you practice what already is? How can you practice being who you really are when you already are who you really are? The recognition of your true nature as this boundless awareness that's appearing right now requires absolutely no effort. Every second you spend thinking that you have to do something or practice something to realize who you are is more time spent overlooking what's already the case. Every second you spend thinking that more seeking will lead you to realize who you really are is more time spent believing you're a separate person who's not awake yet and will awaken in the future. So, what happens when there's no more seeking? What happens when there's no more believing and listening to the next thought that comes into your mind saying, I'm not awake yet, I'm not getting it, I'm not realized? What's left? That's right. This awakened awareness that's already present always was and always will be, because there's no time, and all apparent time is simply this now reality of awareness appearing as a different form. But no matter how the forms appear, no matter whether they appear as an apparent enlightened being or an anxious seeker, it's always this awareness, this consciousness appearing as that. The end of seeking is the complete relief that you already are who you really are, this consciousness. The end of seeking is the end of the belief that you are the character in the story in your thinking, the character in the story who's going to apparently wake up. What if you don't believe you're the character in the next thought that arises? What's left? That's right, just this awakened awareness, already accomplished, already the case. The end of seeking is the end of a practice, the end of you practicing, listening to your thoughts and believing you're the character who's seeking awakening. When that practice ends, what's left? That's right, this consciousness that you always were and always will be. You were never just this person that appears in this consciousness. This is an aspect, an appearance of this consciousness. The consciousness, the awareness, is always primary. Your whole body, brain, and every single cell in your body is constantly changing. In fact, there's complete atomic replacement of your entire brain and body about every 7 years. So apparently, you're a completely different person every 7 years, and not an atom of who you were then is present now. And yet, one thing remains present, this consciousness, this awareness that it all appears as. There is no distance between you and your true nature, because your true nature is already who you really are, and so it's always completely immediate. There are no conditions between you and your true nature, because your true nature is already who you really are, and so is completely unconditional. So, I say, give the mind a new job to do. Because even with the recognition of your true nature, thinking still happens and thoughts still appear. But what are they in service of? Is it in service of trying to find this? Is it in service of saying there's lack and incompleteness here because something hasn't been found yet? Or is it in service of this ever-present discovery? Is it trying to find this recognition? Or is it in service of this recognition? Is it seeking or is it embodying what's already true? You see, the recognition is unconditional, immediate, and always instantly available. The embodiment, in the way we think, feel, and behave towards others in the world, happens in time. It's an infinite unfolding. As we relax into and rest as awareness, the momentum of seeking gradually loses momentum. Thoughts that say, this isn't it, there must be something more, I'm not awake yet, I'm not realized yet, are no condition, no obstacle to awakening, because they are just more thoughts that are happening in this awakened awareness that's already present. All those thoughts are always made of nothing but this awareness. They are always this awareness, your true nature, appearing as thoughts that say, I'm not awake yet. As we relax into and rest as awareness, it doesn't mean that we always relax and rest as a person, like we become passive or not energized. We may, on the level of the person, do the opposite of resting and relaxing when we want to move with vigor and energy. What relaxing and resting as awareness really means is relaxing our contracted perception, usually down onto thoughts, down onto sense perceptions, trying to find something that's going to fulfill us in the future. It means resting perceptually open as this wide open awareness as which everything appears. So self-realization as awakened awareness is an infinite unfolding, an infinite revelation. In a way, it's just the beginning. It's the beginning of infinite embodiment. It's the beginning of realizing there was no beginning and there will be no end, because this awareness, this consciousness, your true nature, is all there ever was and all there ever will be. It's the revelation that human bodies are born and die in this awareness, but this awareness was never born and will never die. It's the infinite and eternal now reality that all apparent birth and death appears within, but completely transcendent of those descriptions and appearances. There was never any proof, even in principle, of a separate material world outside of this consciousness. There was never any proof that you are just merely a meat sack born into a material world that produces consciousness. That's ridiculous. Any apparent evidence of a separate material world outside of consciousness will always only ever be consciousness appearing as that. Any idea that you are separate is in thinking, in concepts. It's looking at this universe, this consciousness, and dividing it up into descriptions and labels, when in true reality, it's just this consciousness appearing as the universe. So in a very literal sense, we are infinite consciousness, God, dreaming this dream. We are God, dreaming the perspective of 8 billion humans and trillions of animals and however many trillions of extraterrestrial beings there are. We are this dream of consciousness appearing to itself, just like a night dream, except this isn't in our individual minds, it's in the mind of God, the mind of the one dreamer dreaming all of our lives. So there never was any separate you to begin with, only this infinite consciousness, God itself, dreaming that belief. There is no seeker and no enlightenment to attain. What you thought of as you was merely an illusion, a story created by thought. The sense of being a separate self on a spiritual journey was just another appearance in consciousness that you now have no evidence for other than a memory that appears in this awakened consciousness now. There is only this, what is, And this includes everything, your thoughts, feelings, experiences, all of it is just happening with no separate individual making it happen. It's the happening of the one dreamer. It's the infinite unfolding of infinite consciousness. Relax into this truth and your whole life will transform in miraculous ways. Your seeking ends here because there never was anyone seeking in the first place. There's no path, no practice, no way to get there because it's already here and you're already what you seek. In fact, there's no here because there's no there, there's only this. And in fact, there's no this because there's no that. There's only what can't be described, and it's what you're looking at now. In fact, there's no looker or anything looked at. There's only